Is it work? Look, don't ask questions. I've been fighting with my USB audio interface for like 2 days. And at first it was the cord, and yeah, it's working now. I'm not going to ask any questions. I fixed it. I don't even know what I did. Now, welcome back. Here we go again. I don't even know what to say today. I'm stressed. I'm running behind. I'm about 8 hours behind schedule. You know what? So we're going to roll right into this one. Now, my notes aren't open. Like I said, it's been just complete chaos. Life is crazy. You ever notice that? Life is just kind of nuts. It doesn't give a shit what your schedule is. It's going to do whatever it wants. It's just one of those things. Hold on. What was I saying? Yeah, life's going to fuck with... What are we talking about here? Dorohedoro, Volume 8. First things first, thank you all of my patrons, every one of you guys. Thank you so very much. If you want to become a patron, the link's in the description below. Dorohedoro, Volume 8. Picking right up where we left off, right in the heat of battle, with Shin protecting the professor. And he's going to protect him from all those messed up looking people from the end of the last volume that we read. Let me raise my chair up. I feel like I'm sitting down on the ground. Anyway, he's also going to get really kind of messed up himself in this fight. Meanwhile, Noi's inside. She's all tied up. And she's going to come to, and she's going to overhear them inside of the hideout talking about how they just killed Shin. Which isn't true, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to send Noi into a complete frenzy and she's going to go batshit crazy. Which of course doesn't go very well for the Cross Eyes gang, as I'm sure you would expect. Except for the fact that one of the guys suddenly grows huge and Noi gets distracted by this wax doll in the corner, and then it looks like she just kind of gets, I don't know, something splatters on a window. Right then, Shin and Noi show up and they see the window and they go running in and they... Shin and Noi. Right then, Shin and the professor show up and they see the window and they go running in and they save Noi. Woo! But they also get to see the wax doll inside of that room, and the professor recognizes him. Or at least whoever, the face of the wax doll. And just then, the professor's wife shows up and saves him. She has now graduated from being a sorcerer to being a full devil. And boy, let me tell you, she's one sexy lady. Anyway, now we get a shot of the devil that helped Nikaido, and he is now being held and tortured for information because he's helping Nikaido, and they want to know who he helped, why he helped him, and why he's keeping secrets from the other devils. Meanwhile, Caiman and Nikaido are running around at wherever they got teleported to by that devil guy. And they're going to run into a little cross-eyed girl who actually only has one cross-eye because she literally just got the tattoo because she's like brand new to the gang and stuff. And she's also like a black powder dealer. And she's going to help him out. And then she's going to get attacked by her boss or something. And they're going to help her out. So now we've got a new buddy and she's going to tag along for, well, the remainder apparently. Caiman's going to protest and say, no, you can't come for a little while. But the second Nikaido hears that she knows where the hideout is, Nikaido's going to then trump Caiman and welcome her along on the journey. Also, while Nikaido's washing up, the little cross-eyed girl's going to slip Caiman a bag of black powder. Meanwhile, over at that hideout that Caiman and Nikaido are trying to find and the girl's going to take them to, we meet the cross-eyed gang. And they're getting notified by their landlady that if they don't pay their rent, they gotta go. Except she likes one of the guys. And, let's see. She likes him enough that if he just comes with her, you know, and is like her boy toy or something like that, then they can all stay there for free. I can't imagine why the guy doesn't want to just go be hers because, boy, this lady's a prize. I'm kidding. She's terrifying. Anyway, the guy that she wants eventually agrees because, they literally have no other option. So he's just going to take one for the team and go be with the lady right as Risu and the leader get into like a big fight, and she gets caught in the crossfire and she ends up getting killed, taking a spike to the back of the head. But luckily they got the deed right before she died, so it's okay. I mean, kind of. We got to deal with the body first, but we'll get there. Anyway, now over at En's. En's going to put everybody into a dream machine, and we're going to go into this weird dream world, which Chota appears as Chota instead of Nikaido's, which, kind of messes with En's mind there a little bit. And you think this is really going to mean something, this whole dream machine, dream world that En's building. And really it all boils down to he's using his team as guinea pigs to test a dream machine to see if it works. And if it works, he'll sell it. That's about the long and the short of the entire chapter, other than the fact that it's just silliness for silliness sake, because this is Dorohedoro. What do you expect at this point? But real quick, while we're in the dreams, we do get to see Ibisu's dream, and though it doesn't really show anything at all of any importance, it just continues to hint at the fact that Ibisu is more important than anyone really knows at this point. And then at this point, it shows the professor, and he's daydreaming about the face of that wax doll, and just kind of comes out of his daydream and says, "We need to go back to the hole." Now, flash over to Risu. This is how the reading process of this is, by the way. If it feels like I'm kind of ping-ponging, that's what it's like reading the manga. Anyway, Risu's strung up from the fight that he had with the leader guy, and he says, "At least now I know who killed me and why." That would be nice if I knew that too, Risu. You're more than welcome to fill me in. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. But we do get a flashback of him back when he was in the sorcerer's school, and the teacher's beating up the students, and then he gets into a fight with the teacher, and another student comes in and helps him beat the teacher, whose name was Aikawa. And Aikawa's a character that we've seen before in the manga. He kind of pops up, and he's clearly somebody important, maybe even somebody we already know. We just don't know this because they're wearing a mask. And I'm holding off on any theories as to who he might be at this point, because it feels like it's pretty obvious who it's pointing at this is supposed to be. At this point, just about every character that's ever been introduced in this entire manga is some type of red herring pointing to them possibly being Caiman. So I'm really just kind of holding off on the whole, this could be former Caiman, even though we're going to get a scene like 2 pages from now that's going to really try and hammer that one home even harder. But let's just wait. Anyway, this all ends with Risu going to that leader guy, Dokuga, and saying, "You can't kill me, can you?" Now, meanwhile, over Caiman and Nikaido actually come across that school that Risu was just having flashbacks of. And Caiman pretty much immediately goes batshit crazy because he recognizes the place and he remembers going to school there, which is kind of crazy because, Caiman's not a sorcerer, right? But anyway, he ends up running around by himself. He ends up getting a horrible migraine. He ends up hallucinating as he's going through the school. And eventually he comes across the student records from the school, and he finds Risu's name among the student records. This then leads him to having literally blood spray from his ears as he then has the same flashback that Risu just has, although it's all from that other perspective. Almost like Caiman's Ayukawa or whatever the fuck his name was. But then this flashback of Risu and Aikawa quickly devolves into pretty much almost like a supercut of all these images that we've already seen before from all of Caiman's nightmares, kind of smashed and sandwiched together in a spree. And also, like I said before, I'm really just not ready to put together any theories, because it really feels like we're still just being fed a whole lot of red herrings, and it's just mystery after mystery after mystery being, drip fed to us at this point, and I'm not ready to start connecting the dots. Also, at the same time, we're only on volume 9, and there are 23 volumes of this, so it feels a little early to really start theorizing as to the grander scope of what this is all going to pan out to end up being. I think I might be able to start formulating ideas, but I'm not ready to No, not yet. Not yet. Anyway, by the end of this, Caiman's face is completely tore up and his crosses are off of his eyes. So I don't know if he ripped them off with his, like literally tore them off with his hands, or if they just disappeared on their own. It's not explained. So not only do we not really have any answers here, we actually have more questions than we went in with. Like, did he just claw off his cross marks or did they disappear? But anyway, Nikaido and the girl find him and they're going to bandage him up and put him back together, basically. Although he's not quite right after this. He's really weird for the next few chapters. Although the whole thing does end with this really touching picture of Nikaido just holding Caiman and telling him that everything's going to be okay. And I really did you kind of pause there for a second and you're just like, oh, isn't that nice? Anyway, now back in the hole, Shin and Noi and the professor are going to try and solve the mystery of who is the wax doll guy. And the professor recognizes him as, I don't know, one of the first guys he ever experimented on back in the day in the hole, who was a human, not a sorcerer. But anyway, he knows his grandfather and he's going to go talk to his grandfather and ask him where the grandson is, the guy that looks like the wax figure. And they go to see the grandfather, and when they get there, he's already dead. No, wait, he's just a freak. I'm kidding, he was experimented on by sorcerers. And he tells him that the grandson is dead. He even offers to take him to the grave. To which they go and immediately start digging the grave up. Which I don't think the old man's super happy about. All right, now, do you remember the Cross-Eyed Gang? The Cross-Eyed Gang that killed the landlady, right? Right, that one. They're back. And now, remember that body? Now we're going to deal with it. Oh, also, Shin and Noi dig up that casket and the casket's empty. There's no body in it. Anyway, dealing with the body. Now, what we have to do is we have to stage the body to look like she died in her mansion and the Cross-Eyes had nothing to do with it. So, it's off to the tub, because it's going to be death by drowning. Now, we fill the tub with water, we put the body in the tub, and she's so large that all the water runs out of the tub, and there's nothing left to drown her with. Okay, so that didn't work. So to the staircase, death by hanging. And while they're attempting to string this lady up to make it look like she was hanged, isn't that a weird, that sounds so wrong. To make it look like she was hanged. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, while they're hanging her, they're talking about Risu, and one guy says this all started with Risu's magic. And just then the lady's weight loss stomach bugs burst out of her stomach. So you mean to tell me this woman's had bugs inside of her stomach this whole time, eating her food for weight loss purposes, and she didn't lose weight? Or was she bigger than this to begin with? This is a disturbing concept and gross as hell, by the way. Fucking nasty bugs looking nasty things. Ugh. Anyway, back with Nikaido's devil friend. He's done being tortured and they didn't really get any information out of him. And he is now been demoted. He's in trouble. Bad devil. You should never have helped somebody, sorcerer. And so they unscrew his horn from his head, and he is basically turned back into a sorcerer. He's no longer allowed to be a devil. All devil powers are stripped from him, and he's left for dead. Well, he's told that he can live if he can make it out alive or something like that. But anyway, back it ends. We now get to see Chota, and Chota's going to revert back to looking like himself instead of looking like Nikaido, because what turned him into looking like Nikaido was the devil's power. And now that the devil's not the devil anymore, all of his magic goes poof away, kind of like that bug guy from Volume 1. See, I'm learning the mechanics of this world. But before he does revert back, he's going to find Nikaido's diary, and then he's going to go into the bathroom and have a whole, I don't fucking know, pampering, powdering, bathing. Boy, he's way too happy to be a girl. Let's just say that. Anyway, But he's going to read the diary. And we learn that Nikaido was raised by her aunt and her uncle, and she was raised with Kawajiri, that devil guy, as though they were brother and sister. When Nikaido finally learns how to use her magic, and she makes a little cube, which does nothing. Then, later, Kawajiri's going to go off to try and become a devil, and she's going to decide to practice her magic more, which is going to make a bigger cube. And this time the cube's big enough to see all the levers and buttons and controls on it, basically. Just for her to start playing with all the dials and levers and stuff. And little did she know what a terrible thing she had set in motion. Right then, Anne interrupts and Chota stops reading the book. Wouldn't it be nice to get all the information for once? No. Actually, this is quite fun. It has been happening for the entire manga. It's like the drip feed, and it just baits you right along. That might be one of the most enjoyable things about this. Every time it feels like it's giving you information. Oh no, somebody interrupts, and it's just a lot of fun. And honestly, it's a mechanic that I can find irritating sometimes in other mediums, but in this one, it's handled in just a way, it's implemented in a way, it's just silly enough, it's just tongue-in-cheek enough that it's one of the most fun parts of the entire manga, is that constant baiting of information, but not actually giving it to you. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. But anyway, En gets mad when he finds out that Chota's been impersonating Nikaido, and he goes to attack Chota, but somehow in the process, the contract gets torn, and En collapses because the damaged contract. Meanwhile, Caiman and the girl and Nikaido are checking into a hot springs hotel, and Caiman's still acting really funny. Like I said, ever since he got his face fucked up, he's been acting just real off. And Nikaido sees him sitting in a chair in a corner and even sees him as someone else entirely. It's strange. But before that, everybody's going to go down to the hot springs and get washed up, because what else do you do in the hot springs hotel but go to the hot springs? Let's be real. This is Japan. I'm sorry. But anyway, she does get a little bit of information out of the Cross-Eyes girl about the Cross-Eyes gang and just black powder in general. They all get a little bit drunk, and Nikaido has a heart-to-heart with Caiman about what they should do after this is all taken care of, and after this is all settled, and he knows who he is for real. And where he says he might go back to the hole. She says, I'd like you to come back to the restaurant with me. It's a nice little touching moment, and it all ends with a panel that says, that was the last time I ever saw Caiman. What the f*** does that mean? I have a way of stopping these reads on some of the weirdest cliffhanger endings, and I know I got the book right down there and I could pick it up and look if I wanted to, but I have schedules and I have a life and I have things to do, and it's just kind of fun that I won't read this for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Because I'll have Blam coming up next, and it's just and I'm just disciplined enough to go, nope, I'm not reading it. And I treat it like a legitimate cliffhanger. So I have no idea, and I won't know until 2 weeks from now when I pick that book up. But at the same time, how the hell do I keep landing on these? Although, in all fairness, these books are kind of designed to end kind of abruptly, like cliffhangery. I think they did that on purpose. I mean, it's happened every single one, so it has to be intentional. What was I saying? Do I have any more notes? Anyway, no, not really. I guess just as far as the mystery is concerned, I really am having just a blast with it. This feels like you are just non-stop learning something. Some new bit of information is constantly being fed to you at all times. And it feels like it's just coming, so much of it's coming at you so fast, and it's only volume 9. So it feels like we're getting too much information, because how are we going to maintain this much information coming at you this quickly all the way up to volume 23 or whatever this goes up to? That's a lot. And that's mainly why I'm just I'm not ready to put together too many theories, because it looks like they just told you who Caiman is, but then it's kind of already looked like it's fed us some very contradicting information about Caiman. So, I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is I think the mystery is my favorite part. More so than the comedy, than, I don't know. It all goes together so well, doesn't it? And it's all wrapped up in that neat little bow. Like, if this was a movie, this is some hard R stuff. Like, that's the bow that ties it all up, right? It's that really edgy, gritty, that hard R rating that almost feels like, I want to say unnecessary, but it's so not. It is that, it's the cherry on top. Like, you can have the comedy, you can have the slice of life, you can have the mystery, you can have all of that, but then putting it in this just really messed up, and they just tip it right over into the extreme. Like I said, if it was a movie, it would just be a real hard R rating for that movie, and it's just that cherry on top that just like, was it necessary? Yeah, I say it was, because it just made it. It was that extra touch that just tipped it over the edge into something truly special. Yeah, yep. Anyway, I think I'm going to stick this with one. I'm going to stick this one with an 8.5. I'm going to take it back up a little bit because I don't know. I enjoyed this read through better than 6 and 7. I really did. And for some reason, I just burned through these two. I started and I just didn't really stop. I just kind of, start to finish, just chewed through both of them, and they're great. So, yeah, we're going to go up from last week. We're going to just tick it up a little bit. We're going to go 8.5. Don't forget, everyone, there is a link for the Discord in the description below. Also, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you next time.